but until you start driving vehicles, you won't actually know what speaks to you the most. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out here in San Francisco driving a 2023 Mazda MX-5 Miata Club. Big thanks to Mazda for this press vehicle, my first ever press vehicle. Exciting times. And I figured now is as good a time as any to cover some of the lessons I've learned, some of the things from being a car YouTuber over the last year that have surprised me, that have been good, that have been bad, and hopefully you guys will find some value here. The first surprising fact about being a car reviewer, car YouTuber, I can call myself that now because getting access to press cars, which I guess makes me feel a little bit more legit, is how your heroes are gonna disappoint you. I remember when the BMW M2 first came out, I said that is my attainable dream car. It is reminiscent of those older 90s and early 2000s BMW 3 Series, the E36, the E46 that I loved growing up. Small, compact, two-door. And I remember driving a 318 IS when I was younger and thinking, wow, the chassis dynamics and the steering here are so amazing. When I finally got behind the wheel of an M2, I was pretty disappointed. Granted, it was an M2, not an M2 competition, and the M2 competition does have some substantial advantages over the M2. But even that M2, I was like, wow, this is not really what I was expecting. And part of that is, as you get more experience behind the wheel, I mean, when you're younger, you don't really know what's what. You see what looks cool, you think you know what you want or what you like in a car. But until you start driving vehicles, you won't actually know what speaks to you the most. And the M2, I mean, you can watch the review. We did a three-way with the M2, Supra, and Cayman. The M2 is a repurposed, not sports car that's tarted up to be sportier. And there's inherent downsides that come with that. And as the list of cars expands and as I review more and more, I'm sure there will be many other examples that are gonna be a little bit of a letdown, where I hold the car in very high regard, but then after actually driving it, not so much. Wow. The drivers here have been nothing short of, let's just say, noteworthy here in the Bay Area. Now, number two, related to that, is actually being surprised as to what actually makes an engaging and fun driving experience. What you have to remember is that cars mean different things to different people. So if you are a driving enthusiast, if you enjoy the experience of being behind the wheel and driving a car, you're gonna have a different set of priorities compared to someone who maybe is a car enthusiast, meaning they like cars for a different reason. Maybe they like the status it gives them, or how beautiful they look, or things like that. But as a driving enthusiast, I was very much surprised that what made for a rewarding driving experience in my mind is very attainable. Things like driving this Mazda Miata. This car is a riot to drive on the canyon roads. Things like my 2022 Toyota GR86. Also a fantastic driving experience. And these are very attainable, very enjoyable cars. And here's the crazy thing, guys. I have been very privileged and very lucky to drive some incredible cars on some amazing roads. And it has actually made me respect and appreciate the GR86 more than I did before. That's wild. You would think that, oh, you're driving Porsches, you're driving Lotuses, you're driving all these amazing cars on these beautiful canyon roads. You probably are getting bored with the GR86. Complete opposite. I appreciate that car even more now because what makes for a good driving experience is not necessarily more power, it's not necessarily a higher performance ceiling, it's not necessarily spending more money on a vehicle. What makes for a good driving experience are the inputs, the dynamics of the car. Can it dance with you? Can you find that limit safely and predictably and enjoy pushing the car in a way that puts a smile on your face? Number three is that being a car YouTuber is a great way for scratching that itch. I think a lot of us who are car enthusiasts or driving enthusiasts, we love the experience of driving new cars and just seeing what each car is about, right? So I can speak for myself, and I'm sure many others who would go to dealerships with the intention of just test driving various cars that we're interested in. We don't even have an interest in buying them. We just want to see, hey, what is it like behind the wheel? Because we want to educate ourselves, we want to enjoy the process and kind of build our driving experience repertoire so we can be more knowledgeable and just appreciate these cars more for what they are. And I've done that many times over the last several years. I'm less enticed to also buy multiple new cars. I'm getting a better idea as to what I want, and then, you know, building out my 3-car garage in a way that serves those purposes based on my preferences. And I don't feel the need to go out of my way to go to dealerships, find cars to test drive, because I'm able to connect with some amazing car enthusiasts who are generous and just want to share the love of cars and driving, and they let me review their cars, and I'm able to drive different things every couple of weeks. It's a great situation. It's fantastic. And that brings me to number 4, which is that this has been an insanely powerful networking tool. Now, when I see the car community, there's a lot of questionable things that happen that get posted online. Things like these takeovers, and you know the type, the guys that drive certain types of cars that tend to make a lot of noise and inconvenience people and give all car enthusiasts a bad name. But the great thing about starting a YouTube channel is that it's a self-selecting audience. So the people who are going to watch my videos are generally people who value similar things when it comes to cars as to how I am, you know, because the way that I'm expressing the cars is going to resonate with people in a certain way, and those who have similar values, similar interests, etc. will watch my videos. I'm more likely to connect with them and befriend them. So a lot of viewers who have offered up their cars, fantastic people. I've made many friends that way. And even just reaching out to other car reviewers, most notably Fenton's son from the Zygreen channel and Chris Amos from the Topher channel, have been so incredibly helpful in me starting my own channel. And this, I mean, I would not be where I am today without the help of those two. So big thanks to them. And of course, big thanks to all the viewers who let me review their cars on this channel. I've also met people and made friends through the YouTube channel simply because I'm at a car meet and they recognize my voice because they watch my YouTube videos, because I don't show my face obviously on these videos for the most part. And you know, I made new friends that way. That makes me think of another point, which is that a lot of these friends that I made at this recent Vegas car meet, they drive really exotic, really amazing cars. And driving a nice car can also help you network. Driving an interesting car, I should say, can help you network with other car enthusiasts. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think anyone should ever overextend themselves to try to buy a car that they think is going to help them socially or network, etc. But I have appreciated that more so recently than I would previously. Because previously I said, hey, who cares if I'm a car enthusiast driving a beater? That shouldn't really change who I'm friends with or my networking, etc., compared to if I'm driving a Lotus Emira. But I have changed my mind on that. Number 5 is you will find yourself disagreeing with a lot of reviewers. There's a couple of reasons for that. Number 1 is that we all have different opinions, right? We all have different biases. I talk about how my bias is I care more about steering than the average car enthusiast or car reviewer, and I care less about an engine. Therefore, the FRS I enjoyed a lot because even though the engine was underwhelming, the steering was fantastic. So I perceive that car as having a greater value than someone who maybe cares more about the engine and less about steering or chassis dynamics, as an example. The other thing goes back to the whole car enthusiast versus driving enthusiast. So if a car reviewer doesn't care about driving as much as they care about other aspects of a car, then I can almost guarantee you that we're going to disagree about many things. Because to me, a large part of a vehicle's value and enjoyment is the experience behind the wheel, more so than things like the sound system or the ride comfort or the cargo space or whatever that, you know, gas economy, whatever that thing is. I care much more about how I feel when I'm in the driver's seat. And number 6 is that this has been such a powerful tool in accelerating skill development as a driver. Part of the reason is getting more time behind the wheel, driving different cars, understanding how to deal with different types of cars, different chassis layouts, etc. But I think more importantly, it's intellectualizing the process. So I became an instructor for Porsche Club of America, for Audi Club of America, for Speed Ventures, for various track day organizations. with also the same goal, which is to accelerate my skill development. And being a car reviewer, it's kind of the same thing, because you're intellectualizing and spending more mental energy trying to understand and put into words how a car handles, how to deal with various situations, how to communicate that, how to teach other people. The track day is very similar, because you're pushing it on the track, you're trying to intellectualize and condense that skill set to someone who's a newcomer. And I've become a much better driver since starting the car YouTube channel. I mean, part of that, again, is because I became a track day instructor last year. Overall, this has been one of the best decisions I've made in a long time. And I've been wanting to start a car YouTube channel since early 2017, because I started Med School Insiders, which is my main YouTube business. We have 1.6 million subscribers. We grew very fast from the beginning. And I started that in October of 2016. Seeing the success there, I said, oh, hey, I love cars. Let me make a car YouTube channel. And I filmed some videos in 2017, never edited them. They had multiple camera angles, etc., etc. But again, learning from people, from connecting from other people, and just seeing how others are addressing some of the same issues I'm facing. The Topher and Tedward, they do POV car reviews. And seeing that, I thought, wow, that is a way to make this sustainable, because I don't need multiple camera angles, I don't need a camera car, I don't need to do all this editing. I can do something that is very low friction, a light lift, and still make a sustainable and successful YouTube channel. And even once I learned that, I still pushed it off. I still waited about a year or two from seeing the POVs and wanting to do that until saying, you know what, I'm never going to have the time to do this. I need to just make the time. And I'm very grateful that I have. I'm a lot happier being able to pursue my passion in such a rewarding way, connect with people, really, really amazing people. I cannot overstate that. It has been such a privilege to connect with a lot of amazing car enthusiasts, both other car reviewers and, again, the owners of these cars that I review. And the final thing I want to leave you with is a lot of this wouldn't have been possible without pursuing excellence. So I think it's very easy nowadays to be cynical, to say, oh, hey, it's too late now, or I don't have the opportunity, or these people are lucky for X, Y, and Z. I am only in this position from pursuing excellence. I pursued excellence, and you may be like, okay, what does that even mean? Look, my car YouTube channel is not that successful. If I started this channel 5 years ago, I'm sure that things were far less saturated back then in the car space. It would have been easier to grow. So I could make all these excuses, and the channel isn't doing nearly as well, not even it's multiple orders of magnitude less successful than my other channels in terms of growth rate in the first year, etc., etc. But what I mean is that by pursuing excellence with that Med School Insiders YouTube channel, by growing to 100K in 5 months, over 200K in the first 11 months, I essentially built the skill set of some fundamentals of YouTube. But that actually opened doors so that when I connected to other car YouTubers, they took me more seriously. They said, okay, hey, this guy knows YouTube, this guy has some demonstrated success, and it was much easier for me to network and connect with and befriend other people in the space. But then you may say, okay, well, cool, maybe you got lucky with the Med School Insiders YouTube channel, but even there, it's pursuing excellence. I took it seriously, I had a deadline, I worked very hard on it, but more importantly, I set up a foundation by working my butt off. I worked harder than, it's hard to even put into words, the level of grind during college, medical school, and residency for years, right? That's what, 9-10 years, something like that, where I grinded my face off to then achieve the results such that I could make a YouTube video or a YouTube channel, and the advice in the content in those videos was valuable in and of itself. That first ever video on Med School Insiders was garbage production quality. I took a 3-year-old iPhone, put it on a $16 Amazon tripod, and that video still has over 700,000 views. Garbage production quality, but the value, the content was gold. And that's not because I got lucky. That's because I pursued excellence for 10 plus years, worked my face off, and was able to distill all those lessons into a single video. And then, after that, kept making more and more videos to try to pursue excellence, improving the craft, getting away from the drawing on a piece of paper with a 3-year-old iPhone, and then doing animations, then upgrading to hire a professional animator and all that stuff. So that's a topic for a whole nother video, the idea of pursuing excellence and not being a victim. Not saying, hey, I wasn't born into wealth, I didn't have these opportunities. Look, I'm the same, man. I grew up, like, when I was 22, 10 years ago, I was in a 1-bedroom apartment with my mom and brother. I shared a queen bed with my mom when I was in my early 20s. It's not a position of privilege that allowed me to build the YouTube channels, allowed me to build the business. It's the harder you work, the luckier you get. And sure, some people are handed different sets of cards in their life, and things are easier or harder for some people versus another. That's just life. Life's not fair. But it's about taking control, taking ownership, taking that agency in your life and making the most of it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I love all of you. I'm really just so grateful for this experience and for this opportunity. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Much love.